Welcome to the center. Have some something.
Hello there. Nice. I'm Rita. Nice to meet you. Hello.
Yours, I think yours is that. They just got
We're at the White House.
Pick your brain. Well, let's go outside and do
Japanese dive bar.
That's just always
It's kind of like a high-end
a lot of problems in the national ceremony for Article 342, number 76.
Potremmo parlare italiano insieme.
Couple Korea. I saw, what was it, Kochichi and Gakuchi.
It's not child's play. It's not child's
Forward to whatever you want to get that on. Cross border is still
I'll read a section called Three Buddhas. And this is taken from a koan in the Blue Cliff Record. And although most koans are dialogues, this is just three statements by the master Joshu that he used to teach his students. These are the three. A clay Buddha cannot pass through water. A golden Buddha cannot pass through a furnace, and a wooden Buddha cannot pass through fire. The clay Buddha is very vulnerable. Water, one of the most common things in life, can destroy it, since clay dissolves in water. Perhaps like most of us, he thinks that because of the way he's made, there's something intrinsically wrong with him, a basic flaw he doesn't know how to fix. He comes to practice with a curative fantasy right out of alchemy. Maybe practice can change me into something different, something stronger. If only I could be made out of stone, then nothing could harm me. Or perhaps he wishes to be made out of gold, something wonderful and rare and precious, totally unlike the humble clay he's made out of. The clay Buddha is preoccupied with the fact that he's clay. He completely forgets the fact that he's a clay Buddha. That is, regardless of what he's made of, there's already something intrinsically perfect about him just as he is. We might say the clay Buddha represents our underlying Buddha nature, the natural perfection of our life as it is. Because we're frightened by our own vulnerability, because we're preoccupied with fantasies of somehow transcending or escaping the basic fact of our impermanence, we suffer, feeling only our clayness, not our Buddha nature. We may have to exhaust all our attempts at transformation, do everything we can think of to make ourselves something other than who we are, before we stop hating ourselves for being made out of clay. We all come to practice as clay Buddhas. We want to escape something we believe is wrong with who we are, to escape what lays us open to suffering. We don't realize that the attempt at escape is itself an engine of our suffering. But gradually our practice may allow us to come to terms with who and what we are, and we may suddenly realize that even clay can make a Buddha. We get a glimpse of our true nature, and for a moment we feel there's nothing wrong with being made of clay. We're a Buddha after all. And in that moment, we may even think we've achieved our longed-for goal. We've turned ourselves into a Buddha. And not only a Buddha, but a perfect gold Buddha. The gold Buddha symbolizes our experience of realization. It worked for you, right, Shelly?
Every time.
When this happens, we may think we've got it. But Joshu's second lesson lies in wait for us. A gold Buddha cannot pass through a furnace. There's nothing permanent, not even enlightenment. As soon as we think we've achieved some new, perfect, permanent, and invulnerable state, we've betrayed the very essence of our realization. Only when we fully accepted being made of clay, only when we stopped fleeing impermanence and vulnerability, were we able to experience ourselves as Buddha after all. But now realization becomes something we want to hold on to. Instead of feeling permanently trapped in clay, we now want to be permanently enshrined in gold. But permanence is an illusion in either case. We have to let our gold be melted down. We have to kill off any notion we have there's something to attain, something to hold on to, something special we can become once and for all. Enlightenment is not a thing we get from practice. Anything we think we've gotten, even if it's made of gold, can only get in the way. Only when there's nothing and nobody left to obstruct it will the clear breeze blow freely in every direction. Even if practice gives us a new sense of freedom, we've not repealed the law of change. Everything, as Shakyamuni Buddha said, is empty of any permanent, immutable essence or existence. So even the gold Buddha of realization goes back into the furnace of emptiness. What emerges from that refinery? Joshu's third saying provides the answer. A wood Buddha does not pass through fire. The wood Buddha, like the clay Buddha with which we started, is vulnerable to destruction. There is no immunity for any substance. But the wooden Buddha knows that wood is a perfectly good material from which to carve a Buddha nonetheless. Gone are all curative fantasies, gone are all self-reproaches about the inadequacy of who and what we are. Be careful what you wish for. Only when our hopes are completely smashed will we be free. It's not the freedom we started out looking for at all. When we started out thinking we were clay, we didn't think we'd end up as wood, another material just as vulnerable. Nonetheless, there's a real difference between the clay Buddha and the wooden Buddha. The wood Buddha is perfectly balanced between the experience of being made of wood and the experience of being Buddha. The two are not in opposition to one another. Each is actually an expression of the other. Wood is not imperfect. Buddhas are only made out of ordinary materials. Wood is a perfect material for making a Buddha. Meat is another. Like clay, gold, and wood, meat is subject to change. Following Joshu, we might say, a meat Buddha cannot pass through time. Nothing made from meat will last forever, or even keep its shape for very long. You know that. Meat rots and spoils. Everything made of meat ages and dies. But that's not an imperfection in the meat. It's the nature of meat, the perfect expression of meatness. We are truly Buddhas, meat Buddhas. Thank
So no reason to despair, right?
you. Drink up.
And they have the flavors. It's a treasure. It's great. You have that kind of
So this is cheers for a bestseller. Who's going to buy Ending the Pursuit of Happiness? Nobody's going to buy it.
Give it away.